Legacy Maker, the All Sports Network.
Woo! I gotta run. Let's do it. Nothing like some fresh air, a few good friends, and sports.
On the road again.
Yeah, so grab your bags, pack them in, close the trunk, tire spin. We'll be there, wherever when. We're on the road again.
Well, Rob, on the way to UVA, baby.
Yeah, man. I tell you, this is a long ride, man. I tell you.
Yeah, heading up here, UVA versus Miami. Big ACC matchup today.
Yeah,
really big for UVA.
Yeah, where are we going today?
Charlottesville, baby.
Charlottesville?
It's on to Charlottesville.
Really?
Yeah.
Seriously?
UVA. Hope that we don't lose too bad today.
I mean, I don't know, but I mean, I had to turn it off for a second because I know that you didn't want to hear this, but here you go.
Don't play it, Rob. Don't do it. It's all about the U, huh?
I don't know anything about that.
You don't know anything about it?
No.
Nothing whatsoever.
I never heard of the Miami Hurricanes.
Yeah, okay, all right.
Turn over chain.
No turnover chain today, baby. I'm going to take it from the sideline. Going to jail.
Well, let's just make sure that you're in position to get a picture of the turnover chain once it comes out, because I'm pretty sure it's going to come out tonight.
I'm pretty sure it's going to come out tonight, too. The one thing I'm worried about this game, though, Rob, if you're a UVA fan, last week they took on North Carolina State. And North Carolina State, who's 5-0, maybe shocking a few people, maybe. And they're doing pretty good right now. UVA, they had to fight back in that game. They scored the first touchdown of the game. They were up 7-3. Then after that, it was all UNC. Now they scored another touchdown or two towards the end, but UNC State dominated that game against UVA. And they've got to come out today and somehow, in my opinion, try to establish the passing game, because we know they can run the football. You know, Perkins, Ellis, those guys, they can run the football. We're not worried about that. But against this defense and against this team, we've got to do a lot more, Rob.
Well, it's like this Michael Kors watch, which is perfect. UVA is going to have to be perfect today because of the fact that this is the toughest defense they played all year. Miami has nothing but men up front, and their linebackers are just with Quarterman and Perryman. Those guys are so good, and their secondary with Michael Jackson. Watch out now. You know,
come on.
With Michael Jackson and all those guys back there, the Miami Hurricanes are just you know, doing their thing right now, and but they're beatable. What do you think about that?
Well, you know, you look at Miami, first game of the season, obviously lose to LSU. Nobody saw. Well, some people saw it coming. I don't think a lot of people saw it coming.
I said it.
I know you said it, but a lot of people didn't see it. I remember me and Jay talked about the show. It was like, oh man, Miami was Jay's pick to shock the world this year. I guess if you can shock the world if you're the Miami Hurricanes. But
yeah,
you know, we knew that LSU was going to be good, but they've dominated pretty much since then. Now they had a tough one last week against Florida State, but Miami came through in the clutch. They needed that victory. They couldn't afford to lose that game.
No, not to those.
Shimon, Michael.
Speaking of Michael Jackson.
But, you know, I see that and I say, well, this team, especially with your receiver, is it Kroger? I could be saying it wrong.
No, actually, Amar Richards, he's done. His career is over.
What?
A neck. But
Cage,
I'm telling you, Cager,
there we go.
6'5", he's big, he's physical. And N'Kosi Perry, 11 touchdowns, 3 interceptions, a young freshman quarterback. He's very good, and he has a bright future for Miami, as long as Mark Ripp doesn't do anything stupid.
Well, look, I don't want to compare people. You know, we always compare people in the sports industry, but when I first saw Perry and saw the way, doesn't he remind?
If you say Jacoby Harris,
No. I was gonna give him he reminds me of this body size, the Bridgewater type, but he's definitely got in my opinion, maybe a better arm than Teddy. And I don't know, I won't give him Lamar Jackson, but he's definitely got a better arm than Teddy in my opinion.
Well, Teddy coming from the Miami area, going up to Louisville, Teddy is more of that. He uses his brain like that Peyton Manning type mode where he uses his brain more and he can get balls down the field, but he doesn't have the strongest arm. N'Kosi has a very strong arm. But the guy I want to talk about is Perkins, the dual threat quarterback from Virginia.
And they got him in transfer from Arizona. And, he comes in here and he's definitely changed the culture there because they haven't had a solid quarterback. Like I said, he doesn't have the biggest arm. You don't see him flash the arm that much. He can't throw the football, but they are heavy on that running game. They are, very big on that running game. And like I said, with him and Ellis, they could cause trouble. But I think like I said earlier, they've got to find a way to get that passing game. And let me not even try to destroy my man's name, Akazakis. Look at Akazakis. But he had 2 touchdowns in the last game against NC State. We've seen personally what he did against Richmond. So the guy is, they've got some weapons on that team. They got a all right defense.
Yeah, but the thing is that one thing Virginia has to remember is that Miami struggled against North Carolina. North Carolina ran for 200 yards. North Carolina. And the quarterbacks ran over Miami a little bit too, so Miami is a little susceptible to running quarterbacks. So that is something that Virginia has to think about today. Can we get our quarterback on the edge? Can we get him on the run? Because Miami is kind of vulnerable when it comes to running quarterbacks.
But they also got to take advantage of being at home today.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure Scott Stadium is going to be packed today. And then on the top of that, there's a lot of Miami fans in this area. You know what I'm saying? There's a lot of Miami fans.
Why are you pointing at me?
I'm not pointing. I was just going like this.
Listen, I am not a fan.
He's not a fan.
The day of. I am a journalist.
It's a journalist the day of. But any other time of the week, it's all about.
But let's be honest. Who called the LSU loss?
You did.
Who called the Clemson loss in the ACC title game?
You did.
I am fair and balanced.
The prophet does not play games when the time comes around.
Exactly. I am not Skip Bayless.
Right? Oh, the king of bias. Oh, I'm not even going to get into Skip because that's a whole other conversation for another day.
I'm not Stephen A. Smith. I'm not crying over the Yankees.
Oh, the Yankees.
Oh, Lord. What are you doing? Come on!
Now, to bring that up, did you see that A-Rod and Ortiz had a bet and that the loser had to wear the other team's uniform, like the other player's uniform? Man, you should have saw A-Rod come out on that stage with that, come out there with that Boston uniform, man. It was hard. Look, Frank Thomas and them were letting him have it. And then underneath, he rips the Red Sox jersey on his I still bleed Yankee blue. But when I watched it, I said, even though he was a Yankee and I never felt that A-Rod was a real Yankee. You know what I'm saying? Like he doesn't give me, ooh, you a Yankee vibe. You know what I'm saying? Even though he was a Yankee, he never gave me that, oh my God, you're a Yankee. Oh man, you're that's Derek Jeter. That's Posada. Like he was there, but I don't count him.
What Hollywood casting couch did he have to get on to get everybody's good graces?
I don't know, but you know what? It was him, Frank Thomas, David Ortiz, who's hilarious on there, by the way.
How the hell did Frank Thomas get the eugenics commercial? Really.
Frank Thomas, baby, it's the big hurt.
And trust me, guys, she know the difference too. What the hell are you talking about?
Speaking of weird commercials, what about Snoop Dogg's VD commercial? Not Venero D's, but the ED commercial. The ED. Have you seen the Snoop Dogg ED commercial? He's up in there. Look.
I don't want to.
So it's funny. Snoop Dogg comes on there. And he's like, "Hey guys." He said, "Now I don't have these problems, but you may have them." I was like, "Oh shoot! How Snoop Dogg gonna shoot a shot at somebody?"
Didn't he just have a gospel album? What in Sam's hell is going on around here?
I promise you gotta check it out. If it pops up at any time, you're gonna laugh because I was in tears. I'm like, when did Snoop Dogg decide to get a VD commercial or an ED commercial.
Why did you say VD?
I don't know. It's the closest thing.
Why do you think of venereal diseases?
I meant to say.
Goodness God, man.
Erectile dysfunction on.
But you stop saying VD.
I know, man.
Gosh,
I'm messing
man.
up.
You know how many guys got drunk last night? Women got drunk last night, made mistakes. You know how many bachelor parties last night happened? Good God.
A lot of bachelor.
Do you know how many alcoholic drinks? Oh my God. You know what? It's time for the return.
Of the Mac, this guy.
Let's say it on 3 to real. 1, 2, 3. Charlottesville!
All right, everybody. All right, we made it here, Scott Stadium, UVA, Miami. We made it. Rob did not kill us today, which was an important thing. The driving was, it was all right, but
my driving has been questioned in the past, but I 0 my driving record though, so I'm good.
Yeah, I can't. Well, thanks to Court going to driving school.
Shut up, Darrell.
I'm in good space, so let's go and enjoy the game.
So grab your bags, pack them in, close the trunk, tire spin, we'll be there.
Let's talk about Virginia.
On the road again, baby. On the road, baby. UVA, Miami. Let's get this bad boy started.
So grab your bags, pack them in, close the trunk, tire spin, we'll be there, where and when, we're on the road again.
Stuck in traffic.
Why would you want? I wouldn't even listen to Jake Greer's.
I almost had to kill this guy, Rob.
It's probably stupid. I would not admit that on camera, and I am not a part of the plot. All I can say is I love New Jersey.
I mean, we're riding down the road here, and obviously heading to DC for Panthers and Redskins, and
Maryland.
We're heading to Maryland, and this guy, the transfer truck, completely cuts us off. I mean, like, no need just to move up one car to go right back in the lane that you were already in.
Yeah.
I'm gonna try not to get upset, but let's go on a positive, or maybe not so positive note, but we'll swing to last night's game. UVA wins 16-13 in a matchup that you weren't happy about it, Rob, about at least how the way Coach Marquette coached the team last night.
Let me address this to the world. It wasn't that I was upset that Miami lost. It was the fact that people had to pay money to watch that game. Because as media, I love defensive games. But I don't love defensive games where 2 quarterbacks, or 3 quarterbacks in this case, were just absolutely dreadful.
Well, you look at it, Perkins had 92 yards. I think Perry may have had less than that. And then, is it Riser? Rozier?
No, well, last year was Rozier. Now it's Rozier.
Rozier. Okay.
Rozier.
He changed his name. Perfect. But
Sounds like a chicken.
I think he had like 174 yards last night, but that was after the fact. But going into the fourth quarter, and we talked about this last night in the booth, they only had 150 yards passing between both teams. And for me, I'm just not a fan of the new, and I'm not going to say new type of football, but most teams are going to the read option. And I don't like it. Because for me, it takes away the game of football. When it's okay to run the ball. This ain't the 1950s. This ain't the 1940s when the running game is the running game. We're talking about, nowadays it is pass happy. And I don't mind to see a running game every now and then, but that's all they do, bro. That's all they do is run. That's it.
Well, the thing is that when Robert Griffin III started doing it years ago, they said, "Oh, this will never This will never stand up and all that. But now you see every
He's
quarterback.
the innovator.
Yeah.
Like, he's an innovator of the
Every
sneak.
quarterback is doing it. Every quarterback. It doesn't matter if they're a pocket passer or not. So
Everybody's doing it. I mean, and I don't mind the mix of it, though, Rob. I don't mind it, like, being a part of it. But when I'm telling you you're doing it the whole game, though, I mean, that's crazy.
I mean, and they're taking, basically, what coaches are doing now is they're taking guys who are not really quarterbacks, and they are making them into quarterbacks, and they're, like, running and doing all stuff like that.
Right.
But you do have some really good quarterbacks who do use the read option, who can pull it back in and fake out the defense and get it downfield. The thing is that last night, Miami's defense played terrific.
They were great.
Miami was playing great, but at the same time, like I said in the preview, I said if Virginia could run the ball, which they did, they were able to run the ball at times and play defense, they would win the game. And that's what they did.
Well, they had 3 interceptions in the beginning, and we got to see the turnover chain last night at least 4 times last night.
Yeah.
And it was Grandy. I could be saying his name, but Grandy had 2 interceptions last night. So
Trajan Bandy.
Yeah, and so the Miami defense is fine, but that offense did look a little suspect last night.
Miami's offense looked like Margaret's offense.
The old school Georgia offense.
Yeah. Well, I mean, Georgia didn't have that. Well, to be fair, Georgia didn't have a good day yesterday either.
No.
As LSU went in there and completely dismembered them.
Yeah, I'm not going to say I'm surprised, because once you get into conference play, once you get into division play, when you're in football and you're playing a conference or divisional opponent that you play often or every year, those matchups are hard to win. Those matchups are hard to, they're going to be good matchups. I don't care if you're the worst team in the division. You always got a chance against your division rival.
Well,
always.
I mean, do you think the SEC is a little overrated this year? Because, hey, look at Alabama. Alabama played some very good. I mean, I'm not saying good. They played some lesser opponents. Now, last night they only scored 39 against Missouri. Missouri is half decent because Missouri hung in there with Georgia. So, do you think that Alabama, if they can get if a right team gets on them, that they'll lose? And I'll say this as well. If Alabama loses to Auburn, they should be disqualified automatically.
Well, I'll say this. The way Tua looks right now, and Alabama, I think me and you talked about this a few weeks ago. I've never seen Alabama have a passing game like they have right now. And we talked about how, just imagine if they had this type of passer with those other teams, with all those great receivers, your Julio Joneses, your Ridley. Well, Ridley got a taste of it last year. Amari Cooper.
Yeah.
If those guys had that type of quarterback, oh my goodness. I mean, they probably put up 2,000 yards apiece.
Well,
Look at an NBA player. NBA player is making 5 years, what? Oh man, this guy's rolling. Woo, 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 woo. Cops, baby. What you gonna? He was rolling. What in the world is happening here? This thing has went down to one lane, y'all. Y'all got to see what's happening here. I mean, it's off the chain. We're just trying to get over. Yeah, they were rolling. What you gonna do when Chef Brown John come from you?
Oh, no wonder. Oh, my goodness.
Oh!
Damn!
Oh, shoot.
Damn!
Oh, my God.
Yo, the truck was flipped. Damn! Yo, how in the hell? The truck was like, it was like the truck's supposed to go like this, but it was like, zoom!
Oh, my God.
Damn!
I pray that whoever's in there is okay.
Yo, the dude in the Flamingo, that was the dude in the Flamingo, but he was so short. How the hell did his feet even touch the pedals? Damn!
The dude in the Flamingo?
The dude in the Flamingo shirt? Damn! The dude in the Flamingo, he was shorter than a mug.
Alright.
Damn! The truck was supposed to go like this, but it was like this. Damn! He gonna get a fine, yo. Damn!
Forget the fine. I just hope he's all right.
Forget about him being all right.
What do you mean forget about him being all right?
He flipped a truck.
The truck is on the ground, like upside down. And
Truck on the ground. Truck on the ground. What you gonna do when the truck on the ground? Pass on the ground. Pass on the ground. What you gonna do when the truck on the ground?
DC or Maryland, and we got Redskins, Panthers today. This is a very interesting matchup for a few reasons. One,
Critical matchup.
very, very, very critical matchup for a few reasons. Cam Newton Incorporated 3-1. They're in the hunt in that division. They need this win today to stay pace with the Saints. So it's a very critical day for them. But very critical for the Washington Redskins. The Redskins are at a point right now, Rob, where I hate to say it, but they're in a little bit of trouble. They're injured. Right before, we just found out that more likely there's no Jamison Crowder today. There's no Chris Thompson today. They're already banged up. Paul Richardson is questionable. Who do you have on the offensive side of the ball?
It's hard, Darrell, and that's the thing. When you look at Washington last year, they succumbed to so many injuries. And, we look at a guy like Kirk Cousins and we blamed him so much. But honestly, Darrell, I just think that the franchise is just cursed at this point.
Well, I look at it and say, what would the Washington Redskins need to truly turn things around? Because, let's look at it this way. Most people say, get rid of the owner. Okay, maybe that could be part of it, but you can't get rid of an owner. So let's look at it at a logical, situation. What do the Redskins, and look, I'm not trying to fire Jay Gruden, but things don't look hot. He's one of the people that, you hear on these news that he's on the hot seat. What do the Redskins need to truly turn this franchise around? Because it doesn't feel like they have completely all the right pieces. I think they feel they're doing the right thing on defense. We can tell that they're starting to get better on defense. I mean, the Saints game was a little bit bad, but they got a good young defensive line. They've got some solid linebackers, cornerback position, here and there. But what do they really need?
If his last name wasn't Gruden, would he still be around?
Say that again?
If his last name was not Gruden, would he still be around?
Well, I would probably say no. They had Shanahan around for 3 or 4 years. They had Zorn. Zorn was there for a little bit. He wasn't there long, but he was there for maybe a year.
Yeah.
So they've had the worst luck with trying to find the right coach.
You had Kyle Shanahan right there in your lap. You had Kyle Shanahan right there in your lap and could have been your coach.
And he could have been. I think, but the whole Kyle Shanahan thing was, it was attached to RG3 and it was all this. And I think, the ownership and the Shanahans just didn't, something went wrong there. Something. I don't know exactly what it was, but something went wrong there. But if I'm Washington and I'm looking at this team right now, we saw this team in training camp, and we saw what we felt like they could be.
Yes.
And for whatever reason, we haven't. It's like every other game they play well.
Yes.
First game of the season, fantastic. Second game of the season against the Colts, what in the world? They played Green Bay, fantastic. They played the Saints, and they get destroyed. Now this week they're playing Carolina. And if the trend continues, well, they should play fantastic this week.
Well, I'll give you. If we're speaking of offense, I'll give you a guy I believe that needs. This is his week to step up. This is his week to make impact. This is his week to make a name for himself, and maybe give himself maybe more playing time. Maurice Harris.
Well, I think he started the other week, and they're going to try to bring him back into the role. But I think he'll be an impact. But they've got to find a way to get other things going. I don't think Perrine has played all year.
No.
And Rob Kelly, I haven't seen Rob Kelly since week 1.
Yeah.
So they're just banged up. And it's weird because last year they were banged up, but they were losing people for the season. This year they're just banged up, and it just seems like no one's. And it's earlier than it started happening last year.
Well,
last year it started happening mid-season. Now it's happening. Here we are, week 6.
Yeah.
And it's going down.
Well, even you look at this, Josh Dodson was inactive Monday night against New Orleans for a heel.
Right.
He's questionable today. So
I hope if he can play, he's got to play today. You know what I'm saying? They need the help on the offensive side of the ball.
Yeah, so grab your bags, pack them in, close the trunk, tire spin. We'll be there, where and when. We're on the road again. tires spin. We'll be there wherever when we're on the road again.
He's forced fumble, interception, got some good tackles, so I'm happy for Josh.
Hey, Coach, could you talk a little bit about the defense at the end of the game and what they had to do to keep him and that team out of the end zone?
Yeah, I think they had a couple good hits early on and made some great plays. Cam scans the field very well, very accurate for a big quarterback, and he's tough. He's tough to deal with, you know. And but it was great to see our guys breaking out some balls and making some plays. So that's what it's all about. You know, they got some yards, got down there, but it's about red zone defense, situational football, 3rd down, 4th down. We got the big stops and won the game.
Jay, how would you see the second 5, 3rd, 5, 4th, 5? You guys struggled to run the ball all day, but did you see, and did it dictate their defense not giving you guys an opportunity to run the ball in that situation?
It's hard to run the football when you only get. We just call the plays. You know, we try to execute the plays that's you know, coaches call. You know, I feel extremely confident in Norv and, you know, the play selection that he has had up until this point, and don't plan on it changing.
Cam there. All right, ladies and gentlemen, just got back from, or leaving. We're just leaving FedEx Field.
Yep.
And the Washington Redskins. You know, me and Rob at the beginning of the day said we both thought Carolina would win this game. Still looked like they had a chance to win this game at the end. But the Washington Redskins win this one 23-17. And it was definitely an interesting game. Two things that pop in my mind right off the bat from this game. The Redskins can't score in the second half, or at least touchdowns in the second half. And then with Carolina, those last few plays, which we talked about in the post game with Cam Newton incorporated like that. What were your thoughts on today's game?
I was confused as hell. I'm gonna be honest with you, man, because here's the thing: Carolina is a very talented bunch, and to me, you have a dynamic weapon. You have a nuclear bomb. Carolina Panthers have their own nuclear type weapon. They have their own Mr. Everything if people threaten their team. When DJ Moore drops that ball on the punt and the Redskins get easy
field position,
you put Christian McCaffrey back there. Christian McCaffrey was not utilized today. He only had, I believe, on like 40-some yards rushing. And that's my point. He is your weapon. He is your ultimate weapon. And Christian McCaffrey is that ultimate weapon. Of course, you have Cam Newton. He's undeniable. Your most important weapon, but your most explosive and your most effective,
top secret.
right?
Well, not maybe top secret, but your top flight.
No, I'm saying just something that is something that you utilize when you need to. It's Christian McCaffrey. They didn't do that today.
Well, you know, you look at that. You know, McCaffrey, I think 8 carries, 20 yards. He had 7 receptions, 43 yards, and we knew that. And we talked about it in the pregame. He had to have a good game, or they had to find a way to get him involved in the game in order for them to truly succeed in this game. I did like what I saw from Devin Funchess. When they did get the ball, they had 5 receptions, I think 74 yards, and that touchdown that he had was amazing. I'm still trying to figure out how he caught the ball. Kind of caught it, looked like he caught it with one hand, and Quentin Dunbar's whole hand was inside of his, like a claw, like inside of his helmet. I never seen it done quite that way before, but he still caught the football. But Carolina showed some high points today, and I just think that the turnovers is what cost them in the end. Obviously, I mean they just made so many bad turnovers. They seem small at the time, but Josh Norman gets the interception, the fumble by DJ Moore. It was just small stuff.
When you're, as a football team, and you have more penalty yards than other team, no matter how many it is, not only penalty yards, but you have 3 turnovers to 0, then and you wait until the second half to really wake up. Plus, like we said before, Josh Norman was going to be key to this game if the Redskins were going to win. He came out fired up. But the thing is that the Carolina Panthers, as I will publish later on my on the Legacy Maker Instagram page, when I asked Cam Newton, basically the Redskins dictate their offense to them not being able to run the ball. And he kind of hesitated. And the thing is that the Redskins, I don't care how good their defense is, you get Cam Newton on the run. I believe they only ran a read option,
a few times.
Truly a few times. So, you get Cam Newton on the run, and you get in that situation, you use his legs. I mean, the Packers use Aaron Rodgers' legs when he's healthy.
Right.
I mean, Cam Newton is not. A lot of people call Cam Newton a running quarterback. I don't call him a running quarterback. I call him an opportunistic runner. He's an opportunistic runner, and I believe in that situation, you run him, and you put the ball in the belly of your running back, and you try to get in the end zone.
Yeah, I'm surprised, and maybe they just didn't use him, but I didn't see any C.J. Anderson today, and if he did run the ball, I really didn't see him make any type of thing. And I know C.J.'s more of at this point, maybe like a situational runner, maybe coming in and giving McCaffrey that break, but we didn't see any of him. Olsen, I think, had maybe 1 or 2 catches at the most in this matchup, and he had
4 catches, 7 targets, I believe 58 yards.
Yeah, so
48 to 58.
So he didn't have a horrible game, and it seems like they're trying to slowly but surely get him back into the fold. I expected them to target him a little bit more, but I think they just were maybe not holding him back a little bit, and giving him time to really get his footing back.
Well, I'm not really going to say that. I mean, he would have had 5 catches if he was able to slide a foot late in the fourth quarter. When they were driving, I mean, he would have had that's 5 catches. I mean, some guys can't get 5 catches and they're healthy.
That's true too. That's absolutely true. But I mean, you look at this, and we look at it from the Redskins point of view. Much needed win. They reclaimed the lead in the East, and that's the biggest thing that came from the day. It's a half game lead, but it's a lead. And then they got Dallas coming in there next week. Alex Smith, AP looked great today, and that's what they need when they run AP. And which we talked about before, when they run AP, you see a difference. And they ran AP today, and it was a good mix of AP. He hit Vernon Davis, which I still think should be a little bit more of an option for Alex Smith. But they tend to, Jordan Reed had a few ones that, they're obviously still going to Jordan Reed, but that touchdown that Vernon had was a really nice touchdown pass for Alex Smith. And and then he hit Richardson in the back of the end zone. Just really good play in that first half. They just got to find a way to get more points in the second half.
Well, Darrell, like I said, the Washington Redskins have done a good job in winning games this year, but they are sliding on thin ice because it's going to get to a point. So it's going to get to a point in one of these games where they're not going to score in the right opportunity of time, and the other offense is going to be able to take over and score points. I mean, there's no reason why Carolina should not have scored today. I mean, after the display we saw Monday night, and like we said, the Saints, talking about another team, the Saints, they have a very good offense, but the Carolina Panthers is not like 15 notches below. They're very close to being a dynamic offense, just like the New Orleans Saints. And the Carolina Panthers have some different type of receivers. I mean, Torrey Smith looked younger today.
Yeah, 2-point conversion and got a touchdown. He was wide open on both. He was pretty much wide open on both of them. The funny thing about it was he was super wide open on the 2-point conversion, and they pretty much ran the same play. He was in the same spot, same everything.
And he was beating Josh Norman on some plays today.
Yeah.
So the thing about it is that Carolina, to me, honestly, has no excuse that they lost this game today. You have to keep pace in NFC South. The NFC South is probably one of the toughest divisions, and with Atlanta winning today, now they have 2 wins or whatnot. That division is going to continue to be harder. The NFC is the hardest division, and Adrian Peterson, he had a great game, 17 carries, 97. But eventually, Darrell, I believe he'll get to 1,000 this year. But eventually, he's going to have games where he's going to slow down some.
Right. I mean, he's 33 years old. Yeah. I mean, I think he's still going to prove us wrong here and there. But, every other game he's had like a little,
great game.
Great game. Great game. So, but the Redskins are in a good spot. They got Dallas. Next week. All right. So, Rob has been asleep since we crossed the bridge in Maryland into Virginia. So it's been about 45 minutes. My man has been knocked out. Rob, you all right? Rob, are you okay? Please help. Hey, you good, bro? You good? Oh, Jesus, I don't have time for this. I'm telling you, I can't wake him up. I mean, the guy's like the iron sheep. been knocked out for like 45 minutes. Man doesn't sleep. Need to give him some of that diamond tap.
Hello, Darrell. I like basketball and ice cream. Ice cream. Basketball. Football. I'm the Undertaker.
All right, everybody. Until next time.
Woo, I gotta run. Let's do it. Nothing like some fresh air, a few good friends, and sports.
On the road again. Yeah, so grab your bags, pack them in,